Today at shopdap.com we're going to be installing a Racingline carbon fiber rear chassis brace on our MK7 Alltrack. Okay, so today we're going to be installing this carbon fiber chassis brace in the rear of our Alltrack. So this is a bolt-on piece. The reason why you would do a chassis brace on your vehicle, this stiffens up the chassis of the vehicle to prevent flexing. This is going to help you for handling and that type of stuff. It also is a beautiful piece. It is carbon fiber and uses super nice trim and glossy finish and all this stuff. The guys from Racingline are awesome and they're working with us on this. And so we're going to be giving away one of these units. So all you have to do to enter to win this MK7 chassis brace is to comment on the YouTube video and you'll be entered. We'll be selecting a random winner and it'll be an awesome thing. So this is a beautiful piece and let's check out our DIY. So before we go any further with this install, I want to go over a few things in terms of hardware. So these actually clamp onto the rear brackets. These are the lower brackets that mount, and this goes in the center of the carbon fiber brace. In between that is going to be this rod that's threaded on both sides with a nut in the middle. Now these are, one of this is going to be reverse thread, so one of these sides you're not going to be able to thread in normally. You have to thread it in the opposite way. That's how these two mate together. So you're going to want to make sure you have the orientation correct with the text facing towards the back, and then you thread this guy in. These are 3 different screws that actually are used for this hardware. They're a little bit different, and so I want to go over the detail of where they're located. So there are tapered fit Allens. These are actually located, these are 2.5 millimeter Allens. These go in the back of this brace. This goes on the bar itself. Now there's these other Allens. These are going to be slightly longer. This is a 3 millimeter Allen, and they go on the top of the bracket that clamps around the rear brackets on top of the brace, the long bar at either end. And then there's these 2 that actually go into the front side here. Now these are the shorter ones. You want to make sure you have the longer ones up top and the shorter ones right here. So we're just going to slide this pole through and then have that mounted in the center, and then we'll put our ends on. Okay, so here are the mounting brackets for the long crossbar that goes across the whole back. And what happens is these slide in, and these are actually going to clamp on to the brackets that the seat latches onto. So here's the part that actually clamps around the bracket, and so it has these small Allens that thread on. So what I'm going to do is thread the 2 end ones on, and this should allow us to still get over that bracket. I'm just going to get like 1 or 2 threads in there. So I only have 1 bolt threaded to allow this to clear, and then we're going to do that on both sides, and then we're going to try to snug the rest of this up. We'll need to work with this bottom portion a little bit to get that seated properly. You want these, making sure you're clearing all around that striker. Okay, so once we mounted these are 3 millimeter Allens. We're using a ball, so we can get a different angle. This one's gonna be a little tight if you're not using a ball Allen, but that is something to be aware of while you're actually doing this. So 3 millimeter Allen is what you're gonna need for this. Okay, so here we are going to get this hook removed. This mounts like so in here. And so we have to get our pick in here. We're just going to use a 90-degree pick, and we're going to pop it in there and then pop this cover off. Inside of here is an 8 millimeter triple square, and we're going to remove that now. All right, now we're going to install this. There are 2 centering points, and you just kind of find those. You can wiggle it in a little bit, and then this bolt should thread right in. Okay, so this brace installs between this lower portion, and we're going to thread this guy in like so, and then we're going to thread the upper portion in. Okay, so one note that we had some trouble with as we were getting these rods mounted in, we were having some issues getting them fitted. And what we realized is that the threaded part here in between the 2 wasn't perfectly symmetrical. So one side had a little more threads available than the other. So what we did is I took it and we unthreaded it completely and then held them together and spun it at the same time to get them completely even. So now this thing is threaded in all the way on both sides, which hopefully should give us the access we need to get this thing in here. Okay, so we have this thing completely installed. We did have some trouble getting these to line up. And what I did is loosen these top portions. We did have them tightened, and it seemed like it helped give us the flexibility we need. So make sure if you're having trouble with fitment on any of these things, loosen these base portions, loosen every screw on this. It will allow you a little more flexibility. We are going to start with threading all this stuff down to where it's mostly tight, and then we'll get this portion to allow tension to push out, which gives you the complete structure of giving the support that this thing is going to provide. Okay, so one note I wanted to make is the screws, the 3mm and then the 2.5mm Allens. These are very small screws, so you are going to want to be super careful that you don't strip them. I would say stay right over, there's not a spec that we were able to find from Racingline as an official spec, but I would say stay around 8 Newton meters when you're tightening these up, because otherwise you can end up stripping these out, which would be a bad day. Okay, so we have everything tight here, and the last thing we're going to do is snug up this union here. This applies tension to all of this, so you don't want to go crazy, just a couple of turns, and you can kind of see this thing kind of tension up and push everything outwards, and we should be all set there. Okay, so the one benefit to this, and among many other being bolted and all that, is that the seats still fold up and down, so they can still latch just like they did from the factory. Boom. Thanks so much for watching our video on how to install a Racingline rear chassis brace. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and links to this product and many more, shopdap.com, description below.